At Noi Bai Airport that morning, as usual, the place was packed with people. The loudspeakers continuously repeated flight information and reminded passengers to maintain order in the security screening area. Endless lines of people stretched, as far as the eye could see, accompanied by the sounds of rolling suitcases, hurried footsteps, and the chatter of children, creating the distinctive noise of a weekday morning. Many were rushing to leave Hanoi for business trips, or returning to the south for work. Amidst the bustling crowd, there was a pregnant woman, around 5 months along, struggling to keep pace with the line. In her hand was a slightly worn silver-gray cloth bag. Her face was pale, but she maintained a calm demeanor. That was Lynn, 32 years old, preparing to fly to Saigon to complete some paperwork for her unborn child. She was alone, with no family, accompanying her. Though she didn't stand out, the slight tension in her posture caught the attention of a few people. And then, just as she approached the security gate, a dog suddenly barked fiercely, like an alarm cutting through the air. Everyone froze. The entire security area seemed to hold its breath. Confused glances turned toward the source of the sound, a golden-brown dog, growling relentlessly, its gaze fixed on the pregnant woman. Its barks grew sharper, making the already tense atmosphere even more suffocating. The dog, named Ben, was one of Noi Bai Airport's most experienced security dogs. With 7 years of training and service, he had detected dozens of cases, from drugs hidden in toothpaste tubes to metal concealed in shoe soles. He was famous for never giving a false alert. So when Ben barked, the security team knew they couldn't ignore it. Some nearby passengers grew uneasy, stepping back or pulling out their phones to record. A group of women nearby whispered skeptically, "A pregnant woman being barked at like that. There must be something hidden in her belly." Young security officer named Tuan approached Lynn, his expression tense but his voice calm. "Ma'am, our dog is reacting strongly. Could you step aside for further inspection?" Lynn flinched, instinctively clutching her stomach. I didn't do anything wrong. I only have this bag. My documents are all in order." Tuan studied her for a few seconds before signaling for the line to pause, preventing further chaos. Meanwhile, Ben kept barking, his front paws scraping the tiled floor as if desperate to reach Lynn. His gaze never left her, not even for a second. Lynn's belongings were scanned twice, but the screen showed nothing unusual. No banned substances, no hidden metal, nothing suspicious. Everything was clean. Too clean, even cleaner than usual. But Ben didn't stop. His barks weren't the usual alert. They were urgent, as if he was trying to warn someone that something was deeply wrong, not outside, but inside the woman's body. Just as no one knew how to proceed, a middle-aged man in a crisp uniform emerged from the monitoring room. His name was Khan, the head of security for Zone A, a man who had handled hundreds of tense situations without leaving a single loose end. His sharp eyes scanned the scene, the pregnant woman, the relentless dog, before he quietly stepped forward. After exchanging a glance with Ben, his usually composed expression flickered. He nodded slowly and said firmly, "Take her to a private screening room. Now." No one dared to object. Everyone knew the unspoken rule. Ben had never been wrong. But this time, the suspect wasn't a shady man or a nervous traveler. It was a pale, visibly frightened pregnant woman clutching her stomach. Yet she didn't argue, didn't scream, didn't ask why. She simply followed 2 female officers in black vests toward an isolated inspection room at the end of the hallway. Everything happened in minutes, but it was enough to paralyze the entire area. The line stopped. Whispers spread. No one knew that the decision made in that moment, based on nothing but Ben's stare and Khan's nod, would be the first step in a chain of events determining the survival of 2 lives. As the inspection room door closed behind her, Ben finally stopped barking. But his gaze remained intense, not angry, not aggressive, but desperate, as if he was racing against time, seeing something no one else in the airport could. From that moment, Khan felt something shift. This wasn't just another security protocol. This was something beyond all the rules and theories he'd learned in over a decade on the job. Behind that door, a woman was holding her stomach, unaware that something terrible was silently unfolding inside her body, something that would erupt in just a few more moments. The private inspection room was at the end of Zone A's hallway, far from the main check-in area. It wasn't large, just enough for an inspection table, 2 straight-back chairs, and a frosted glass partition separating it from the corridor. No one outside could see in clearly, but those inside could feel every curious glance. Lynn was asked to sit. Her breathing was uneven, not from fear, but from a strange, twisting sensation in her lower abdomen. She clenched the armrests, her gaze fixed not on anyone in the room, but on the door where Ben, the golden-brown dog, had pressed himself against the glass, his eyes locked onto her. He wasn't barking anymore, but a low, steady whine escaped. Him, his claws occasionally scraping the floor, a sound too quiet to be noticed by anyone but him. A female inspector and an on-duty doctor entered. The inspector gave a polite nod, her eyes cautious. The doctor, a thin man in his 50s with glasses, approached Lynn. "How are you feeling? Any health issues? You look a bit pale." Lynn shook her head weakly. "I'm fine, just tired from traveling. Maybe a little dizzy." But as she spoke, she winced, her hand pressing into her lower abdomen. The discomfort wasn't fading. It was spreading like a slow wave. The doctor frowned, checking her blood pressure. 90/50, lower than average but not yet critical. He muttered to himself. "Fetal heartbeat needs further monitoring," then turned to the inspector. "Prepare the fetal Doppler." Meanwhile, Khan remained outside, arms crossed, eyes fixed on Ben. His expression was as cold as ever, but beneath, it was turmoil. He remembered an incident 2 years ago when Ben had barked nonstop for nearly 30 minutes, leading to the discovery of firecrackers stuffed with explosives hidden in children's candy. Everyone had doubted the dog, but in the end, Ben had been right. Now,